Okay, so now that we know some of the command line stuff, let's talk about some Linux text editors. So Linux has various text editors that are typically installed by default, and you can use them to edit your files. There's V, which is my preferred text editor. It's old, really old school, a little bit more difficult to use, but it's so very powerful if you learn like the different shortcuts and commands and such. Then there's Vim, which is just an updated version of V, improved user interface, and just some new features. There's Nano, which is user friendly, and you should probably start out with Nano if you're a beginner. And then there's also LeafPad. It's a text editor that uses a graphical interface for editing, which is more similar to what you're gonna find, like with Windows or something. And you can also just try, if you need to, you could probably download it with apt-get install LeafPad, and then you'll be good to go. So you'll choose pretty much which one of these you want to use. So I recommend that you go in, play around with them, and see, what works best for you. I'll show you guys really quick what each one looks like, and then you can choose from there. Okay, so we're back at our Kali Linux terminal. So I'm gonna show you V, and then do I still have the test file here? Yep. So let's do V test file. Bam. So this is V, very basic, pretty much like kind of almost clears the terminal and allows you to type. So what you need to do with V, you have to hit the enter key or the I key typically before you can actually start to type. So when you see insert mode down there, you can actually start typing. So if I type in, hey, this is a really cool class. When are you going to teach another? There you go. So when you're done typing and inserting something into V, you can hit escape. And then now, no matter if you hit keys or anything, you see them popping up at the bottom. It's not going to insert them into the file because I'm no longer insert mode. And with V, you have to be outside of insert mode. So you would hit escape. And if you want to save the file, you would do colon, and then you would do write, and that saves the file. So now it says it's written, so it saved the file. So then when we can quit, you can also like nest these commands together. So if you want to write and then quit afterwards, you can do it like this, and then it'll quit out. So now let's actually look at our test file. This is another Linux command that's very useful. It's called cat, and then the file name, and it'll like print out on the screen what's inside of that file. So there you go. Hey, this is a really cool class. When are you going to teach another? There you go. And Vim is pretty much the same thing, just some different features, so it's not really worth showing per se. Then there's Nano. It's a little bit different. So let's do Nano test file 2. It's a little bit more of like a almost GUI type of feel. It's a little bit easier. It has some of the commands down there just so that you guys know exactly what to do. And when you see that little caret, it just means hit the control key. So if I wanted to save the files, control O, it's going to ask you the file name. You can change that if you want. Then you hit enter. Now it wrote the file, and then you hit control X to exit. There you go. And then there's also, so as you can see, LeafPad isn't installed on here, but that's no problem. We could just do a sudo apt-get install LeafPad. Okay, so as you can see, we're not going to be able to install LeafPad on this version of Kali Linux. We'd have to go and update the sources list for the repository that it pulls from in order for this distribution to find it. But what we can do is we can actually use a different text editor that's already on here by default. So if you just click the little Kali icon up here and it says text editor, and then bam, you have a text editor just like you used to like on Windows or OS X and everything. So that's definitely an option. I'll include something in the resources if you guys want to actually learn how to go and edit this file, because it'll be a good hands-on kind of like experiment for you guys, kind of like a little lab to go edit a file and then see if it works and try to update and install the application.